Have you ever thought about the scariest secrets hiding behind the kindest faces? Can someone who seems nice have a creepy past? Picture a cozy neighborhood in Russia, with flowers blooming and kids playing around. In the middle of all that cheeriness lived Tamara Sansonova, a grandma who gave everyone the chills, and rightfully so, was titled the most evil granny in history. Sansonova is rumored to be responsible for the deaths of at least 11 individuals, with certain reports suggesting that she took it to the extreme by consuming parts of her victims. Now you may wonder, how did a seemingly normal lady become the poster child for pure evil? Was she always wicked, or did something inside her snap, turning her into a nightmare? Join us as we dive into this tale, and be prepared, because it will send shivers down your spine. Tamara Sansonova was born on February 5, 1947, in Ushur, Russia. Her early life remains largely a mystery. After completing high school, she pursued studies at Moscow State Linguistic University before relocating to St. Petersburg. In 1971, at the age of 24, she married Alexei Samsonova, and they settled into their new home on Dimitrov Street, house number 4. She worked in the travel industry, initially as a travel agent, and later at the Grand Hotel Europe. Meanwhile, Alexei worked at a car repair plant. Regardless of their seemingly ordinary life, tragedy struck in 2000 when Tamara reported her husband missing. She confided suspicions to neighbors about her husband running off with another woman, but only expressed concern about him being missing to the authorities. Weird, right? Despite efforts to locate Alexei, they couldn't find any sign of him. This left Tamara dealing with the fact that her husband was missing after almost 3 decades together. While people later wondered if she had something to do with his disappearance, back then, nobody thought she could be involved in something so awful. After Alexei went missing, Tamara decided to rent out one of her apartment rooms to make some money and have company. In the summer of 2001, a man named Vladimir became her tenant, and they got along well. But as happens in most relationships, they had disagreements, and by the end of the year, Vladimir moved out. Moving on to 2003, Tamara found a new tenant, Sergei Potanin, a 44-year-old from Norilsk. Unfortunately, Tamara and Sergei also had their share of arguments, and eventually, Sergei grew tired of the constant troubles and left. Tamara's neighbors noticed that she often argued loudly with her tenants in the hallways and made noise by banging on the radiators. So, when Sergei suddenly disappeared, they assumed he had gone back home to Norilsk. However, investigations later uncovered a different story. According to authorities, on September 6, 2003, during one of their arguments, the then 56-year-old Tamara murdered Sergei. She then proceeded to cut up his body and discarded it on the streets of St. Decius Way. After Sergei, Tamara kept taking in tenants, mostly younger men, which helped her have a decent retirement. This routine lasted for over a decade until March 2015 when her apartment needed renovations. Luckily, her friend introduced her to 79-year-old Valentina Nikolaevna Ulinova, who lived on the same street. Tamara stayed with Ulinova during renovations in exchange for helping with chores, as Ulinova was older and unwell. Tamara enjoyed living with Ulinova and didn't want to leave. However, their relationship soured due to constant arguments, mirroring Tamara's past with her own tenants. Despite Ulinova asking her to leave, Tamara insisted on staying, helping with chores and ignoring the quit notice issued to her. A final quarrel over washing dishes led to Tamara deciding to settle the matter once and for all. On July 24th of that year, Samsonova journeyed to Pushkin and decided to visit a pharmacy. She managed to persuade the pharmacist to sell her a significant dose of phenazepam, a medication used for schizophrenia. Samsonova's history of hospitalizations in psychiatric facilities helped her secure the purchase without raising suspicion. While returning home, Sansonova also purchased Olivier salad, a favorite dish of her host, along with other household items. Sansonova crushed around 50 phenazepam pills into the salad, possibly as a gesture of reconciliation after an earlier argument. Given the late hour, around 7 p.m., much later than her usual bedtime, Sansonova retired to bed shortly after dinner. Upon awakening at 2 a.m., Sansonova discovered Ulinova lying unconscious on the kitchen floor. Reacting swiftly, she gathered her tools, 2 knives and a hacksaw, and commenced the grim task of dismembering the older woman's body. How inhumane can someone be? To dispose of the body parts, Samsonova made multiple trips outside, carrying plastic bags. Although CCTV footage didn't capture where she took the bags, authorities later learned about her visits to a nearby pond. Despite her efforts to cover her tracks, traces of Ulinova's body remained in the apartment. Surveillance footage showed Samsonova carrying a large saucepan, leading to speculations that she may have cooked and consumed parts of her victim's body. 3 days passed until July 26, 2015, when a couple out walking their dog noticed something unusual near a pond. The dog's strange behavior prompted them to investigate further, leading them to discover shower curtains wrapped around a suspicious package. Upon closer inspection, they found human body parts inside. The authorities were promptly alerted, initiating an investigation. The following day, it was confirmed that the remains belonged to Valentina Ulinova. This determination followed a door-to-door survey of residents, during which no one had seen Ulinova for some time. Upon reaching Ulinova's apartment, Samsonova answered the door. Brace yourselves, because here's where things get interesting. Blood traces and remnants of the shower curtains were found inside. When questioned about the state of the apartment, Tamara confessed that Ulinova had insulted her, prompting her drastic action out of fear for her safety. Subsequently, the 68-year-old was immediately arrested by the authorities. Further investigation uncovered Samsonova's multilingual diary, which yielded crucial evidence for the police. In one entry, it was revealed that Samsonova confessed to killing her former tenant, Sergei, admitting to cutting him into pieces in the bathroom with a knife and disposing of his body parts in various locations across the Frunzensky district. Another entry expressed her affection for her housemate, Ulinova, stating, "Valia is loved." Tamara surprised investigators by showing them how she cut up Ulinova's body. Using a dummy, she demonstrated cutting off body parts, starting with the head and wrapping them in a shower curtain. She couldn't move Ulinova's heavy body, so she got rid of her legs and hips in the backyard. To hide the victim's identity, she boiled her head and hands in a saucepan and threw them into the garbage, which was emptied every Saturday. Imagine the horror. Further investigations are underway, especially regarding the disturbing contents of her diary. Investigators have chosen not to disclose details until they are satisfied with their findings. Tamara's case raises significant questions about the motives and actions of an average woman from St. Petersburg involved in such gruesome acts. Samsonova and some people she knew provided answers. She said an inner maniac drove her to commit murders, a belief backed by her psychiatric evaluation linking schizophrenia to her acts. Neighbor Marina Kravenko revealed Samsonova's admiration for Andrei Chikatilo, a serial killer whose story was discussed earlier. Chikatilo, a wartime survivor, committed terrible acts similar to Samsonova's. During her initial hearing on July 29, 2015, Samsonova easily confessed to the crime, surprising onlookers who saw her as frail and composed. Even during the trial, she appeared oddly relieved at being caught. On November 26, 2015, a forensic psychiatric examination deemed Samsonova a danger to society and herself due to schizophrenia. Previously hospitalized for this condition, she was placed in a specialized institution, the Kazan Clinic, pending investigations. In December 2015, she was sentenced to life imprisonment in a mental facility as per the court's judgment. Tamara Sansonova is now 76 and likely spending her last days in the Kazan Clinic. Her story is both disturbing and fascinating, making us wonder what pushed her to commit such terrible deeds. What do you think might have triggered Tamara's dark turn? And how can we, as a society, work to prevent similar tragedies in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.